I am warning you like I warned the nationalists. I am warning you. One day, we will start praying for the defeat of the ANC government.
Today I stand before you with a heavy heart, burdened by the weight of witnessing the erosion of our beloved South Africa under the governance of the African National Congress, the ANC, led by Cyril Ramaphosa. We are at a critical juncture in our nation's history where we must confront the harsh reality that the ANC has failed us, and their policies have contributed to the destruction of our once prosperous and promising nation. And we know that for a very long time, for decades, the African National Congress was synonymous with the struggle for freedom and equality in South Africa. It was a beacon of hope, promising to dismantle the shackles of apartheid and usher in an era of democracy and prosperity for all. However, what we have witnessed instead is a gradual decline into corruption, mismanagement, load shedding, a sad acceleration into poverty and economic stagnation under the leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa and other former presidents of the African National Congress, as well as the ministers. One of the most egregious failures of our government has been the rampant corruption that has infected almost every level of government. Instead of the people in power saving the people on the ground, they use their power for personal gain. They use their positions for personal gain, looting state resources, diverting funds meant for development into their own pockets. The promise of accountability and transparency has been shattered in South Africa, leaving a trail of broken trust and disillusionment among the citizens of our nation. In South Africa, at the current juncture, the unemployment rate is very high. It's at the sky. Our people have no jobs, and according to the statistics, the stats that are found in the Economic Freedom Fighters Manifesto, 42% of people that are capable of working in South Africa cannot find jobs. And yet every 5 years, there's promises of jobs 6 times in a row. And while Statistics South Africa says that the unemployment rate is sitting at 32.1%, and this statistic was collected in the last quarter of 2023. Now let's have a look at the statistic, the paragraph from 2019. 2019, the unemployment rate was sitting at 28.7, and now in 2024, it's sitting at 32.1, and the focus is 32.79 by the end of 2024 something. And the sad part, what's even worse is the focus, because if you look at the focus, the unemployment rate is expected to rise to 33.9, and yet the ANC government is still promising people jobs. And if you look at this trend, you realize that the unemployment rate is actually rising. It's not going down, it's rising. And the unemployment rate, as I said, is expected to rise. And what's worse is that when the unemployment rate rises, there's other things that actually also rises in the country which lead us to disaster. For instance, crime is going to rise when unemployment rate rises, because when people without jobs can be very problematic. People without jobs resort, not everyone, but most of the people without job, they end up resorting to criminal activities in order for them to feed their families, and as well as feeding themselves and meeting their own needs. And it's very sad because, like I said, the ANC government is still promising people jobs. I mean, I was reading their manifesto. The Cyril Ramaphosa promises to create 2.5 million jobs in a period of 5 years. I mean, that's from 2024 going forward. And he's been promising people jobs in the past. The government hasn't created a lot of jobs in the past. From 1994, they haven't created a good amount of jobs for citizens of South Africa. This is why we see an uptrend in the unemployment rate in our country. And this is going to lead us to a disaster. I mean, let's look at the the unemployment rate trend from 2000 to 2023. 2023, I'll try to put it up on the screen if I figure it out. But yeah, from 2000 to 2000, unemployment rate was a bit low, not that low, but it was a bit low. If you know forex, those who are dealing with finance, and yeah, everyone did maths in high school, mathematical literacy, doesn't matter. But if you look at this graph, it's an uptrend, which is the word that is very familiar in the forex market. It's an uptrend, and that's the sad part, because don't look at the ups and downs. The important thing that we are noticing in this graph is that it's an uptrend, which basically means that although the government is promising to create jobs every 5 years, we have an uptrend of unemployment rate in South Africa, and it's very sad because now we are now over 30. Over 30. We are approaching 50% unemployment rate, and when we reach there, it's going to be a disaster. Because if the half of the population is unemployed, what is going to happen in our country? And it's very sad because this is happening in front of our watch. Your children in the future are going to ask you, Dad, Mom, you were there when the unemployment rate was sitting here, when there was corruption, there was looting. What have you done in the past to contribute to positive change? And these are the questions that you might not think about at the current juncture, but these are the questions you're going to face in the future, and the regrets that we're also going to have as future parents, like looking at your children, looking at yourself, being unable to find jobs, being unable to build a good future for your children, being unable to take your children to a proper schools because you don't have job. You at the time when you were supposed to make a proper decision for changing your country, you couldn't. Now let's look at NSFAS funding. NSFAS is a dying ship, and due to corruption, this is a very serious concern, and I don't really think that the government is doing much to ensure that there is a bright future for its youth. The next generation at the current juncture is seriously disadvantaged. Funds are being looted, there is unfair defunding of students, there is a law that is actually transpiring, yet Blade Nzimande is still sitting there, jumping from a minister of this to a minister of that. Let's have a look at how NSFAS is collapsing under his watch. And in higher education, what is Blade ministering that is actually going well? There is nepotism in the ANC government, and is the reason there is a downfall of so much governmental institution, putting incapable people in positions of power, and worse, when they are failing, there is no accountability. And that is a problem that we are actually facing with the ANC. The ANC is full of nepotism and lack of accountability. Let's now have a look at Eskom. We have been having load shedding since 2007, and it's even getting worse. Load shedding isn't just a matter of not having lights. In our interconnected world, businesses rely heavily on a consistent and reliable supply of electricity to operate efficiently. From small enterprises to larger corporations, power outages actually disrupt productivity, hamper operation, and lead to them incurring substantial financial losses. The impact of load shedding isn't just limited to businesses. It permeates through the entire supply chain, affecting suppliers, distributors, consumers alike. Small businesses already operate on very tight margins, and often bear the brunt of this disruption, struggling to stay afloat amidst mounting challenges. We have seen businesses shutting down due to load shedding, and it's sad to witness that in this economy of Ramaphosa, where everyone is actually trying to find a way to survive. The issue of load shedding is a man-made thing, and is controlled by those in power. We have seen that in many instances. One of the instances is the rugby. During the rugby, the power was kept on for people to watch sport, and after that we went back to load shedding, which is very crazy and very sad. We have the land issue, which remains unsolved in 30 years. This just shows incompetency. The indigenous people of South Africa are still landless. I remember the former president Nelson Mandela promised to transfer white-owned agricultural land to indigenous people by 1999, and it's now 2024. And according to the state, only less than 7% of that land has been transferred, which just shows that the promises that are being made are not being kept. And it's very sad, when you look at this issue of the land, because the land is very important, and it's our people are being kept out, from participating in the economy because of not having land. Most people don't even understand. They know this, but it doesn't really play in their mind like that. That food that you buy, people buy food almost every second. Food that you buy doesn't come from the shop. It comes from the ground. It comes from the land. So people without land are not able to actually participate in the economy.
Land is so important because land gives us life, and when we die, it is the land that takes us back again. It must be accessible to everybody. Everyone needs land, must get land, because it is the biggest gift from our gods, from our ancestors, and from God.
Change of clothes, right? I know that's the first thing that you're probably noticing. Yeah, and this is a different day, because the other parts I recorded yesterday, and what I did was to record the full video. I decided to record it in different parts to make things easier for myself. But yesterday I was really frustrated when I realized that the two parts didn't get the angle right, and I was really frustrated. I ended up just leaving. I was like, I'll record the whole clip tomorrow again, and I've been trying to do that, but unfortunately it's not coming out the way that I want. Hence, I decided to keep the other clips and record this new one, because the other clip that I recorded yesterday were very authentic, and I'm not even coming close to that. I recorded 3 times. So yeah. So back to the story. Amidst all this darkness in South Africa, there is still hope, I believe. At least me, I believe. The people of South Africa, I know that they are very resilient and determined, and they really deserve leaders who will prioritize their needs above the personal gains. South Africans, it is time for a new vision, a new direction for our country. To be honest, we cannot really afford to continue down this path of destruction. It is not going to lead us anywhere. We're going to destroy this country. We're already noticing that we're at the verge of collapse. We have to take a stand as South Africans if we want to protect our country. Let's put the African National Congress, the ANC, on the bench so that it can cleanse itself and get off this mentality or this idea that it is the only party that can rule South Africa. Let's fully explore the true representative democratic system. In South Africa, I think we are the only country that haven't really explored this true representative democratic system, because we have been electing the same party since 1994, since democracy, and yet they have been failing us. We have to come to a point where we elect another party that is going to govern us, because the representative democratic system is supposed to work like this. In our context, you elect a party for a period of 5 years, and if they fail to deliver in that 5 years, you remove them, and then you elect another party. If that same party that you elected also failed, you elect another one again. You might ask, how long are we going to continue with the system? We are going to continue with the system until it works, because it's basic. Repetition leads to good result. The more you do something, the better the chances of you getting it right. So we need to accept this harsh reality. Although we love the ANC, I don't love it. I know most of you do. I will have seen it. Moses Mabhida. I was really frustrated when people filled up the stadium. I was like, oh, yo, you guys really hate the ANC on Twitter, but when it comes to real life, South Africans are disappointing, man. Crazy. But yeah, we have to accept the hard reality that the ANC government has failed us. And then we need to explore the true representative democratic system so that we can take our country towards a better future. Because the ANC will never, I think they need to be put on the bench. This is at least my own view. They need to be put on the bench because they have ruled for so long, and they have this mentality that they are the only party that can rule South Africa. We have seen people like our one who's the secretary of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, was saying that without the ANC, South Africa is going to collapse. How? There's good parties. We need to really look into the manifestos and ideas that other parties are presenting, and then decide which party to put in power. I'm not gonna, although I know a few parties that are really doing well, and I believe that they can take us somewhere. I'm not gonna transgress on your free will. That's your own duty. Go do your research for yourself and vote for a different party, but just not the ANC, because they have done their part, and they're not gonna take us anywhere. We have seen it. It's not gonna move us anywhere. And people have this mindset. We need to get off this mindset also of saying, "Oh, it's better to have the devil you know than having the devil you don't know." What nonsense is that? Because if we really believed in that thing, we'll have stick with the National Party, because that was the devil we knew. But we decided to move to democracy, elect the ANC. And also, how do you guys even know that these other guys are devil? What if they're actually good parties and that can govern South Africa properly? So we need to come down and realize that ANC is not taking us anywhere. Let's explore the true representative democratic system and do it all over again. And up until even if the one that we're going to elect fails, at least we know we gave another party a chance. We want to move on to elect another party, and the system is going to go like that. I think I've covered what I wanted to say. And the election date is the 29th of May 2024. Please go there, remember everything that has transpired, because people also, when it's time of election, this door-to-door campaigning, people are getting misled. Remember the COVID-19, remember everything, the businesses that have shut down, remember load shedding, remember everything that has transpired in this country that has affected this country when you go to vote. And remember that this is the 2024 elections are our 1994 election. It's up to us as citizens to make a change for this country and move it towards a better future. I can't convince you enough that the ANC has failed. It's up to you to make a proper decision for yourself, for your family, for your future, for the future of your children, the future of your country. It's up to you. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please come back next week. Hopefully I'll drop a video. If it's not the summary and overview of the manifesto of the economic freedom fighter, is going to be one of the ANC, so something like that. But please come back next week. Thank you very much.